I'm Sara, 38 years old. I married Elon 8 years ago, who is 4 years older than me. My life changed significantly when my father passed away due to illness, and I inherited a vast fortune. I also got a new house, which I like because of the smell of new wood. The house where my father lived is a 15-minute walk from our apartment. My mother had already passed away, and after I, the only daughter, got married and left home, my father lived there alone. He fell a few years ago and recently passed away. I inherited my father's estate and used it to demolish the old family home and build a new one. When you receive my inheritance, use it to build a new house. Even if his current home is gone, the happy memories will remain in your heart. If you can live happily here again, that's all I need. My father often told me, and Elon, remembering these words, suggested building a new house right after my father passed away. I initially thought he was trying to cheer me up, but I soon realized it was a big misunderstanding. So now, I need you to fill out the divorce files. Please complete your part and submit it to a certain place. Elon, shocked, asks, "Divorce? What do you mean?" Sara clarifies that they are indeed getting divorced and insists that he should submit the divorce files seriously. Elon is surprised and questions her decision, especially when they are about to start a new life in a new house. Sara reiterates that she's serious about the divorce. Elon refuses to believe it, thinking it's a joke. Sara insists it's not a joke and tells him that the house, built with her father's inheritance, is for her mistress. She plans to live with her mistress in the luxurious house, so she's divorcing Elon. Elon is in disbelief, asking if she has been cheating on him. Sara confirms it and mentions that if she had met her mistress before him, she wouldn't have married him. She describes her mistress as cute, kind, and truly in love with her. Elon is shocked and questions how long this has been going on. Sara reveals that it's been about 6 months, and her mistress approached her during that time. Elon is hurt and asks if the mistress knows about their marriage. Sara admits that her mistress knew when she approached Elon, even though he was wearing his wedding ring. But she didn't mind that I'm married. She's happy just being with me and says the cutest things. Men find women like her adorable. I shouldn't have married someone serious and uptight like you. It was never fun, and coming home was always a pain. So I decided to take this house as alimony from you. Alimony? Of course. We've been married for 8 years without having children. I never expected that. It's almost like fraud. What benefit is there in staying with you? We hadn't had children in the 8 years we were married. I was distressed about it, and Elon seemed to comfort me, or so I thought. You're acting like a victim, but it's all your fault. Men being drawn to other women is the wife's responsibility. If you'd have fulfilled your role, no one would stray. You're to blame for being cheated on, divorced, and losing the new house. It's wrong to play the victim or resent me. Incredibly, he claimed his infidelity was my fault. Then he handed me an envelope. What's this? It's your alimony. I don't want to be hassled later, so I'm giving it now. Be thankful. Inside was $1,000, while he took the new house built with my father's inheritance to live with his mistress. He tossed me this money. I calmly returned the envelope. Fine, I accept the divorce. If you don't love me, there's no point. I don't need the money. Well, if you say so. Just don't ask for it back later. He seemed surprised I accepted the divorce so easily. I won't. I'll do my divorce proceedings. Don't worry. Happy, he packed and left days later, taking the keys to the new house with him. However, a short time later, my now ex-husband frantically called me, clearly agitated. What did you do? The police came to the house, talking about warrants and charges of trespassing. According to him, the police had visited when he was with his mistress in the new house. Hello, we're the police. You understand why we're here, right? The police? What for? Well, this is your ex-wife's house. Entering with a stolen key is illegal, theft and trespassing. You understand. Shocked by the sudden visit, Elon was bewildered. His mistress, clueless about the situation, asked in confusion, "What's going on? Isn't this the house you said you wanted to show me? Be quiet, just stay out of this. Sorry to interrupt your domestic dispute, but we have a warrant. Could we discuss this at the station?" Caught between the police and his mistress, Elon hastily called me. "Why is this happening all of a sudden? What did you do? What are you trying to do?" "I haven't done much. Just reported to the police that my house keys were stolen and strangers were in my home. It's only natural to call the police." Indeed, I had filed the divorce papers, promptly reverted to my maiden name Eveline, and reported to the police. "What? This is my house. Didn't you agree to give it to us as alimony?" "I never said such a thing. How convenient for you to interpret things to suit yourself. Don't joke with me." "Isn't it you who's joking? How can you think that house is yours? I'm the one on the house contract. I paid for it with the inheritance from my father, plus I own the land." "The land? But your father said it was for us. That was when you were my husband. Now we're divorced and strangers. Why would you think it's your land?" My father had transferred the land rights to me when he fell ill, to avoid complications if something happened to him. He prepared, possibly foreseeing something like this. He advised demolishing the old house and building a new one for this reason. Money can be taken easily, but not a house. "So that's why you were so calm." "Yes, just realizing now. I suspected something was off. Your agreeing to the divorce so easily was strange. It was all according to your plan." "Plan? I did nothing. You misunderstood and left. I couldn't help but laugh seeing you happily leave, ignorant of everything. Too bad. You were about to be happy with your mistress, weren't you?" "Stop being ridiculous. You blamed everything on me. The affair, the divorce, losing the house. How do you feel now, caught between your girlfriend and the police? It must be tough on the other end." Elon just groaned. "But hating me is wrong. This situation is entirely your fault. Ever heard of you reap what you sow? Really, this is what you deserve." As soon as I said that, he exploded in anger on the phone, screaming accusations. Suddenly, his voice faded. "Excuse me, are you Mr. Joseph's ex-wife? He's causing a disturbance at your house. Could we have a word, please?" It seemed like a police officer had taken his phone. I explained everything, and the sympathetic officer responded, "That must have been tough." Later, Elon and his mistress were taken to the station. He repeated his claims that the house was given to me by my ex-wife, so it's not trespassing. She's saying things I've never heard. The mistress was genuinely surprised. "I didn't trespass. He said he had something to show me and took me there." Ultimately, her statement was deemed true, and she was let off with a warning. Elon was found guilty of theft and trespassing and fined. The issue was he named me as his guarantor upon release, likely not wanting his strict parents to know. No one else to ask. "So he wants you to pick him up, or to ask the person who reported you, but what will you do?" The officer, clearly exasperated, relayed this to me. "Why should I be his guarantor? We're divorced and strangers now." My answer was clear. "I have no connection with Mr. Joseph anymore, so I refuse." "You say he has no one else to turn to, but his parents live nearby. Please contact them. His parents knew about our divorce due to his infidelity, but not that he tried to take the new house. The police's call informed them of everything. Reluctantly, I visited his parents' house after they requested more details. I'm sorry I couldn't explain the situation earlier. I apologized at the door." "Don't worry, you don't need to apologize. It's all my foolish son's fault. But did you know about this?" his mother asked. "No, about what?" "Well, my son's here with his mistress, a younger woman. We let them in to talk." To my surprise, Elon had brought his mistress into the living room. As described, there was Elon, a young woman, and an angry-looking father-in-law, Tom. "Tom, it's been a while. I'm sorry for the delay, Sara. Thanks for coming," Elon said. "I'm sorry to call you after the divorce. I've heard his side, but can't trust someone arrested for trespassing. Can you tell me your story? Tom requested. During this, Elon and his mistress didn't once raise their faces. What were you thinking, trying to take Evelyn's new house? Are you insane? His father demanded. It's different. We've resolved this between us, Elon claimed. Resolved? How? Your story is completely different. Elon had spun his tale before I arrived. What were you told? I asked. He said you willingly transferred the house to him. Then you changed your story and reported him, leading to a wrongful arrest. He said that. It's true. When we talked about getting the house, you didn't object. That's like agreeing. Then you suddenly claimed it was your house and reported it to me. To think you were once married. I'm so sorry, Sara, for having such a son. What are you saying, Mom? I'm telling the truth. Sara wasn't agreeing. She was too dumbfounded to speak. How could you not understand that and claim to be her husband? I'm at a loss for words. I nodded in agreement with Tom. Despite everything, Elon still wouldn't give up making excuses. Anyway, you never said you owned land. If I'd known, I wouldn't have done this. Even if I had told you, you'd likely have found another excuse to do the same thing. How can you say that? Weren't you spending a lot on her? I gestured to his mistress. What? No, why would you? Right after our divorce, I ran into one of your colleagues by chance. It happened right after our divorce. I ran into Elon's colleague, and when I mentioned the divorce, I received shocking information. Figures, no offense, but I thought it might happen. What do you mean? Didn't he tell you? Oh no, I shouldn't have assumed. Can you tell me what you're talking about? Looking a bit uncomfortable, the colleague decided to spill everything since it was out. He told me about Elon's mistress, a woman 20 years younger. He was bragging about it, but I wasn't in a position to tell you. He said he didn't know how to contact me to inform me. He watched as Elon increasingly doted on his mistress, buying her expensive bags and jewelry. Then he shared a decisive conversation. I'm thinking of divorcing Sara. Divorce? Why? Well, I'm planning to marry my mistress. That's quite bold of you. Yeah, her father passed away, and we're building a new house with the inheritance. I'll get the house in the divorce. But that's your wife's property. No, we're married. Once the house is built, I'll divorce and somehow claim it. No matter the opposition, I'll get it. And then my young new wife and I will live in the big house. Elon had been lavishing his mistress with gifts for a long time. It seemed the house built with my father's inheritance was intended as a final grand gesture to propose to her. I've heard everything. Do you still insist you did nothing wrong? Enough. Explain the truth properly. His parents and I demanded. Sweating, he began to stammer. Yes, I bought her gifts. So what? I used my own money, and I gave Evelyn her living expenses. She's not my destined partner. This woman is. I brought her here today to announce our marriage. Are you out of your mind? What are you talking about? His parents exclaimed in shock. But the most surprising thing was the mistress. What? Me marry you? Did I ever say that? No, we're not even dating. What are you misunderstanding? Not dating. What do you mean? Exactly that. I'm not in a relationship with him. Wait, you approached me for a sugar daddy arrangement. Sugar daddy. I told you at the start I was looking for someone for that. Even married men were okay. You agreed to it. But it was like that at first. But now, what are you kidding me? That's creepy. Elon turned pale at this new revelation as he was left speechless. I asked, so why did you come here with him today? She came to ask for time to pay the alimony. She explained that she knew he was married. It's an affair, so I'll pay alimony. But I'm still a student. A student? How old are you? Tom, Elon's father, interjected, looking bewildered. I'm 22. I lost my parents early and have been sugar dating to pay for college. I sold all the gifts for living expenses, so I don't have savings. I can show my bank account. I've just secured a job and can start paying alimony from my salary. So she came here and asked me to wait for the alimony. Yes, that's right. Elon, who had been silently listening, became enraged. Didn't you hear her? Unfortunately, she never intended to marry or even date you, but that's separate from the alimony you owe. Then what about saying you wanted a house if we married? You said that because you wanted to marry me, Carly. She replied, I meant I'd want a house someday when I marry. It wasn't about marrying you. She was suddenly taken up to that house, thinking it was yours. Then the police came, and she learned it was your wife's. She bowed deeply to me, indicating all this was due to Elon's misunderstandings. Elon was in a daze from the shock. All right, if you promise to pay properly, I'll wait for the payment. But promise me no more sugar dating. It might not end this simply next time. I promise I'll never do it again, Carly responded. I turned to Elon, expect to claim for alimony from me without delay. Alimony? What are you talking about? He was taken aback, not expecting to pay alimony himself. You said you didn't need alimony when you returned the money I gave you. Now you want it. That's not what we agreed. I don't recall that. The $1,000 I gave you, you returned it, saying you didn't need it. He continued to rant. What I meant was I didn't need such a trivial amount for alimony. Do you know how much alimony for infidelity is? It's $11,000. You're also to blame for not having kids in 8 years. At that moment, there was a loud slap. Are you serious? Someone asked. What are you doing, Elon? Carly held his cheek, apparently having been slapped. I asked if you're serious. Do you think her inability to have children is her fault? Enough with your jokes, Dad. Don't tell me you're blaming Sara for your affair too. Well, that's what he said. I should have never married him, calling it fraud. How could you? It's true, your parents wanted grandchildren. If she can't get pregnant, better to split. No point in staying together. That's why I chose her. If you truly believe that, then we must have raised you wrong. Wait, what? It took 10 years for your mother to conceive you. She was heartbroken at hearing about others having children quickly and went through intense treatments until you were born. I didn't know that. You think pregnancy is solely the woman's responsibility. That's why you could cheat so easily. If you cared about her, you wouldn't have done what you did. It's not her fault. It's all due to your thoughts and actions. I was learning this for the first time too. It took my mother-in-law, Jane, 10 years to have him. Tears streamed down her face as she silently listened. Tom told Carly to leave the house, saying, You're our long-awaited son, but I can't bear to look at you now. Don't come back until you truly understand your mistakes. Where should I go? Back to our apartment. That must be the apartment we used to share. It's already cancelled with the new house. There was no need to keep it. I cancelled it right after reporting it to the police. There's no place for you to return. He was shocked to realize he had nowhere to go, then suddenly started blaming the mistress. It's your fault, all the money I spent, and now you say you never intended to marry. It's a fraud. But she remained calm. As I said, I was clear about it being a sugar relationship. I never asked for money or gifts. Sue me if you want, but I have evidence of our arrangement, and please remember the alimony. Wait, please wait. I contacted his parents with her and then left their house. Sometime later, I hired a lawyer and sent a demand letter for alimony. I didn't send it to his parents' house, knowing he no longer lived there. Why is this being sent here? The letter was sent to his workplace, as it's possible to send such documents not just to a resident, but also to an employment address. Is this about alimony? What are you looking at? You look so pale. I was curious. Didn't you tell him about it? I did, his ex-wife asked. So I just told the truth. No one told me to keep quiet. It's his own doing. The arrival of the demand letter at his workplace spread the news of his actions, including his serious sugar dating and subsequent loss of everything. Already prideful, he couldn't bear the gossip and resigned, claiming he'd quit on his terms. But his saga didn't end there. He sought free legal advice, claiming he was a victim of marriage fraud. The response was dismal. We see cases like this. But with this evidence, it's not a fraud. You agreed it was a sugar relationship from the start, right? But I developed feelings later on. Were those feelings one-sided? I won't stop you from suing, but it's likely a waste of money. He eventually decided not to sue based on this advice. Finally, he came to me broken. I don't know what I was thinking. I overlooked how important you were, even after 8 years together. I'll make you happy this time, I promise. I won't be distracted by anyone else. He had asked to reconcile, but it was a typical plea over the phone. Naturally, my answer was pretty determined. I refuse. What? After I've begged so much? I realized over these 8 years that you were a terrible person. You try to blame everything on me and take what's mine, then shamelessly return after losing it all. What benefit would there be for me to reunite with someone so selfish? You don't have to put it like that. Forgot, have you? You said the same thing to me once. Anyway, never contact me again, though I doubt you can. With that, I hung up, deleted all his contact information, and changed my phone number. However, a few days later, something surprising happened. Your ex-husband came to the house the other day. We chased him away, though, after causing such a commotion. What was he thinking? While I was away, he came to my house. However, the neighborhood ladies who witnessed this and knew about the situation pretended to call the police to chase him away. Since then, I haven't seen him. I don't know where he is or what he's doing, but I'm sure he isn't leading a happy life. I hope you guys enjoy our video. To watch more interesting stories, subscribe to our channel. Thank you.